discussed about the various problems in stock market and other economic system. Now in this class we will discuss about the stock exchanges. So what is stock exchange and how it works? So you see, when India opened its economy for the various countries in year 1990, and before that there were listed market where one can list his company and chalk out the shares, equities, and search out his partners. तो जैसे ये कंपनी होती है, in this company there are various shareholders, because thousands crores की कंपनी जो है वो एक इंसान नहीं चला सकता है, so we need partners of every 10 crores. ऐसे 10 crores के 10 पार्टनर्स अगर वो ज्वाइन कर लेता है तो वो स्टॉक मार्केट में फिर वो लिस्ट होती है कंपनी, एंड दैट इज़ either in Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange. So stock exchange is market that is association of persons or firms to regulate and supervise all transactions, rules, regulations and standard practice to govern all market transactions. इसमें फॉरेन मार्केट भी इंटर करते हैं. Stock brokers and exchange floor where stock brokers and their authorized agents meet their fixed business hours to buy and sell securities. ठीक है, तो stock exchange is institutionalized for the orderly buying and selling of the listed securities. Now what are listed securities? These are those securities that appear to be approved in the list of the approved agencies. Then comes the Bombay Stock Exchange, one of the oldest stock exchange of India, tracing history in 1886, when there was a land of Britishers, and British people were searching out the Indian market to enlist their industrial products and sell out their products. In the middle time, there was a quest to search for the Indian market, and British companies, French companies entering into Indian market, getting competition with the Indian industries such as spices industries, cotton industries, jute industries, shipping industries. इन सब से competition होने लगा. So a need for listing of these companies emerges. अभी ये कंपनियां लिस्ट होंगी तभी ये मार्केट में अदर कंपनी से कंपटीटर्स कर सकती हैं, एंड दे कैन ऑल्सो हैव the shareholders. They can attract more partners for their investments. So that is a regional exchange till 2002, when it becomes a national exchange. So in 1887 the Bombay Stock Exchange started operating in name of BSE Limited, and BSE has 4 indices: Sensex or sensitive index. BSE के इंडेक्स आप याद रखेंगे, that is asked in the examination. It is sensitive index which has 30 stocks. Then comes the stock share including Sensex. Dolex is the dollar version in terms of dollars, and BSE has a 500 stock exchange called as BSE 500. Then it is developed in 1999, represents several major industries. BSE कब start हुआ 1999 में, and started representing several industries. जैसे NSE में क्या होता है, NSE 50, Nifty 50. So it has also special emphasis on the IT sectors. So a particular security or listed quoted when it is incorporated in the registered stock exchange so that it can bought and sold there. There are 23 stock exchange in the country, out of which 20 including Bombay Stock Exchange and regional and 2 national. तो याद रखेंगे, there is one regional stock exchange and another is the rural one. Now let us look into NSE. It's called as National Stock Exchange of India, and it rises the Nifty 50. So ये एक नया वर्जन आया आफ्टर 90 क्राइसिस, जो हमने इंडिया में देखा है. LPG लागू हुआ in terms of good governance and open market economy. So India introduced NSE in a year 1984. ये 1984 से ऑपरेटेड है. And NSE share index is known as Nifty 50 shares and S&P CNS 50, S&P CNS 50 index and S&P CNS 500 share index, जिसमें ये बहुत सारी कंपनियों को लिस्ट करता है on the basis of their shares, their holders and their profit makers. Then comes the Nifty Junior, is the second tier index of 50 stock. Nifty Junior में another 50 stocks list होते हैं. तो NSE became the first stock exchange in India to admit the foreign investors. Overseas shareholders भी इसमें shares purchase और sell करते हैं. Then comes what is the difference between Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. First, it is the oldest one, established in the year 1875, and it emerged as the premium Indian stock exchange. It's based in class global practice, technology products, IT enabled services, innovation and customer services. Then NSE comes, which is providing the presence and facilitation of the financial well-being of the people and the shareholders. इसके इंडेक्स क्या क्या हैं? बेंचमार्क इंडेक्स ऑफ BSE is S&P BSE Sensex. NSE का इंडेक्स कहलाता है Nifty 50 and Nifty Junior. Now how many companies are listed in BSE? Just 30 companies. NSE में 50 and even more than 50 companies listed over it. What is industrial instrument which is being traded? So BSE trades in equity, mutual funds, debt instruments, currencies and derivatives. Now what is trade of NSE? NSE uses equity instrument, debt instrument, currency and derivatives. इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सिस्टम को कब लागू किया BSE ने? 1995. It established the electronic system of control, and National Stock Exchange establishes the control system in 1992. Now what is the listed entities in the BSE? 5089 companies are listed in the Bombay Stock Exchange. Why? Because it is the oldest one in India. And in National Stock Exchange there are around 2000 companies. So इसे आप याद रखेंगे. That is for prelims point of view, and even in mains purpose we can list in terms of balance of payment or foreign institutional investors. ऐसे issues में hedging वगैरह के क्वेश्चन में आप इसे यूज कर सकते हैं. Now what is the counter over exchange? OTCI. Over the counter exchange is a system that provides the securities which are not listed in the stock exchange. Okay, and it started in 1992. So these unlisted securities are basically securities of small companies with the paid up capital of 30 lakhs to 25 crores and have a limited market. So their prices are determined through direct negotiations between stockbrokers and not by the bidding in the stock exchanges. With the prevalence of screen-based trading, the relevance of regional stock exchange has diminished. So regional stock exchange को diminished कर दिया गया. Now, what is interconnected stock exchange in India? In collaboration of India's 15 regional stock exchanges, 1989 RSE provided more power reach through this the web exchanges and set up to promote liquidity of stocks and small medium enterprises. In 2005, jointly by BSE and FISH, that is Federation of Indian Stock Exchanges, representing 18 stock exchanges in total. So 18 स्टॉक एक्सचेंज एक साथ फिश में काम करते हैं. And the national index of 100 stocks quoted in the national level has given a wider representation of the stock market. Now coming to the important topic, today's class is the banking and money system. So what is banking in India? Banking in India started way back to 1806 जब बैंक ऑफ बंगाल का इस्टेब्लिशमेंट हुआ है ना. जगत सेठ वगैरह जो आप हिस्ट्री में पढ़ते हो कि जो ब्रिटिश कंपनीज को फंड कर रहे थे. So first commercial bank becomes the Bank of Bengal, and there was Awadh Commercial Bank in 1881. Awadh Commercial Bank. Then in 1992 Imperial Bank established, and there are two important steps until 1949 when India got independence. It became the Reserve Bank of India under name of Banking and Regulation Acts. याद रखेंगे BRA Act of 1935. 1935 Government of India Act also led to establishment of RBI. So there was RBI which established, there was State Bank of India which also established, and there was Punjab National Bank. Punjab National Bank 1895 in Lahore. लाहौर जो पाकिस्तान में चला गया है. थोड़ा सा हम समझने की कोशिश करते हैं कि बैंक सिस्टम है क्या और ये कैसे काम करता है. So let us consider this picture showing many people working at the various level. So people who are working in industries, factories, they need loan for बिटिया की शादी करानी है, marriage, loan for school education, loan for housing, loan for agriculture. So such kind of thing is needed in the country when there is circulation of money from one part to the other, and in accumulation of such money there is an agency which provides you the information about money management and sharing your money, lending and loan provisions. ये सारे काम कौन करेगा? एक बैंक करेगा. जहाँ पे कोई भी व्यक्ति, when one person goes to a bank, he gets the money directly, and there is transfer between the banks if there is more fund needed. So there is management of fund. Bank does management of fund for its people and partners also. There is transfer between own accounts, your own fixed deposit account and your saving bank account. So you keep for fixed deposition of your higher education or your marriage or your daughter's wedding and so on. So इन सारी वेल्थ की मैनेजमेंट की एक एजेंसी है जिसको हम कहते हैं बैंक. So bank provides services in the term of credits, lending, receiving, borrowing, and granting of loans. Now moving ahead, how is bank classified in India? So banks are classified at 4 levels. पहले इस डायग्राम समझते हैं. Banks are classified in two broad categories, that are scheduled banks and unscheduled banks. Scheduled बैंक कैसे होंगे? जो गवर्नमेंट के लॉ के अकॉर्डिंग फॉलो कर रहे हैं या चल रहे हैं. द फंक्शनिंग agencies under the norms of Government of India. Now this is called as the scheduled commercial bank. So scheduled commercial bank includes the State Bank of India, and apart from it there is the Reserve Bank of India, which is the central bank of Government of India. तो बच्चे पूछते हैं कि कौन कौन से बैंक होते हैं और कैसे काम करते हैं ये, सो हम इस क्लास में समझेंगे. बट RBI इज सेंट्रल बैंक, इट इज़ अ पब्लिक सेक्टर यूनिट, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया बैंक. ये सरकार के हित के लिए काम करता है, जो आप डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी में पढ़ते हो, वेलफेयर स्टेट के मेजर्स में. व्हेन गवर्नमेंट नीड्स ट्रिमेंडस फंड्स फ्रॉम डिफरेंट लेवल्स, सो इट हैज़ CFI, है ना. गवर्नमेंट के पास क्या है? कंसोलिडेटेड फंड ऑफ इंडिया एंड कंटिजेंसी फंड. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस टू फंड्स, अंडर आर्टिकल 112 गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया यूज़ करती है BRA एक्ट के थ्रू RBI के फंड को. ठीक है, जिससे कि कंट्री की प्लानिंग, स्कीम्स, पॉलिसी सारे प्रॉपरली फंक्शन कर पाए. नाउ कमिंग बैक टू द टॉपिक, what is SCB or scheduled commercial bank? So the banks which are scheduled under the rules of Banking Regulation Act of Government of India are called as scheduled commercial banks. It comprises of SBI and it associates then national banks in terms of IDBI, Punjab National Bank, है ना, regional rural banks, and foreign banks are there. These are the functions of banks present in India. Then comes the rural cooperative banks, terms of cooperatives working in India. So they provide short term and long term loans. कोऑपरेटिव बैंक कैसे लोन्स देते हैं? शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए, जिसमें कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को, डिस्ट्रिक्ट को एंड प्राइमरी लेवल की एजुकेशन के लिए. एंड कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स की फंक्शनिंग के लिए ये लोन देते हैं. इट ऑल्सो गिव लोन फॉर द स्टेट कॉमर्शियल फंक्शनिंग. देन कम्स द अर्बन कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स, सिग्नल एंड मल्टी स्टेट urban cooperative banks, which are used to operate the urban local bodies and providing lending to the urban bodies for their proper functioning. Example, म्यूनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन की वर्क के लिए, नगर निगम के लिए, इन सब चीज़ों के लिए वो हेल्प करेंगे. एंड इवन द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ अर्बन सोसाइटीज़, अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, हाउसिंग डेवलपमेंट, urban planning and infrastructure development. Now banks are classified into 4 broad categories. Commercial bank, जिसमें हमने देखा अभी scheduled commercial bank and non-scheduled commercial bank. There are public sector banks, SBI, PNB, and there are foreign banks, Royal Bank of London, and there are private banks which are run by the private individuals also, company also, and there are the regional rural banks. थोड़ी सर्दी हो गई है. Then comes the small financial banks such as SIDB, which are used to provide the finances at micro levels for agriculture, MSMEs funding, micro and small industries. Then comes the payment bank, such as we also see nowadays Paytm banks, which are in terms of online banking. Then comes the cooperative bank in urban cooperatives. So cooperatives क्या होते हैं? Cooperatives are the organizations of groups of individuals with same vision and same goal. उनके same vision होंगे, किसी same टारगेट को फॉलो करेंगे, फॉर एग्जांपल सोशल वेलफेयर, वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट, पॉवर्टी एलिमिनेशन, ऐसे किसी मैटर पे कोई बैंक बनता है, then they are called as the cooperative banks. They either operate in the urban areas, in cities, they also operate in state areas under the government cooperatives. So now there is State Bank of India, one of the most important topic. The largest bank, Imperial Bank of India, जो कि आज़ादी से पहले some indigenous bankers के द्वारा ब्रिटिश पार्टनरशिप में चल रहा था, that comes to be nationalized under 1955 Act of Nationalization and renamed as the State Bank of India. So State Bank of India का पुराना नाम क्या है? Imperial Bank, है ना? And it is started functioning in year 1959 in association with the other 7 associates. इंपीरियल बैंक को नेशनलाइज कर दिया गया इनके 7 एसोसिएट्स के साथ. ओके, देन इट इज कॉल्ड टुगेदर as the State Bank of India. So it has a vision to be a bank of choice for the transformation of India. That is the vision, and there is a mission of commitment providing simple, responsible and innovative financial solution to the various bodies of India. So what are the steps toward the social banking was taken by the nationalization of 14 commercial banks by Indira Gandhi government in 19 July 1969. इंदिरा गांधी ने क्या किया? पोखरण फर्स्ट टेस्ट. अब इससे क्या हो गया? खलबली मच गई. बैंकिंग कंपनीज रियलाइज दैट इंडियन गवर्नमेंट इज अथॉरिटेटिव. Indira Gandhi clearly recognized this fact that if she is not going to convert these banks into a nationalized bank, she will lost these all banks and they will fly away to the other bigger capitalist countries, USA, UK or any of the European nation, and Indian money in the pocket of Indian public that will be snatched out to the foreign companies. क्योंकि फॉरेन कंपनीज में कॉरपोरेट्स की रूलिंग चलती है. इफ़ यू सी द कॉरपोरेट्स एंड सोशलिज्म सिस्टम इन द यूरोप, then clearly the banking sector is governed by the corporates और उनके टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस पे कंपनीज को चलना पड़ता है. सो अंडर सच सर्कमस्टांसेस इंदिरा गांधी गवर्नमेंट मेक द नेशनलाइजेशन प्लान एंड मेक द बैंक नेशनलाइजेशन एक्ट. क्या आया? बैंक नेशनलाइजेशन एक्ट. इसमें कि 14 कमर्शियल बैंक्स को नेशनलाइज कर दिया गया. ठीक है. So in February 1949, which was the subsequent amendments, was the Banking Regulation Act of 1949. 1949 में बैंकिंग रेगुलेशन एक्ट लाया गया था by नेहरू गवर्नमेंट, and which was providing the legal framework for regulation of banking system. तो अब लीगलाइज हो चुके हैं बैंक्स एंड दे आर वर्किंग इन टुगेदर विद द आरबीआई गाइडलाइंस. सो हाउ स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया वर्क्स? स्टेट बैंक ऑफ इंडिया क्या करता है? इट हैज़ वाइड रेंज ऑफ कमर्शियल कवरेज. 14 नेशनलाइज्ड बैंक इसके अंदर हैं. सो इट कवर्स विलेजेस, tribal areas, it covers rural suburbs, any kind of urban agglomerate, towns, cities. So it has wide range of commercial coverage, and it does selling and purchasing of गोल्ड के संदर्भ में काम करता है, जो कि एसएलआर का पार्ट है, स्टैट्यूटरी लिक्विडिटी रेशियो, हम आरबीआई में पढ़ेंगे, जो कि बैंक को मेंटेन करना रहता है टर्म्स ऑफ गोल्ड मनी एंड अदर थिंग्स, दैट इज स्टैट्यूटरी मनी. So it provides as a rule for the government's bank and bankers bank. It helps other small banks in funding crisis. It also helps state governments in the requirement of their funds. It draws and buys bills of exchange, and it accepts the deposit from the general public and institutional depositors. किसी स्कूल की, कॉलेज की भी फंडिंग को ये डिपॉजिट करता है और उसके साथ भी वर्क करता है. It offers loans to the entities that SBI believe capable of serving loans. ऐसे छोटे मोटे संस्थान को, इंस्टीट्यूशंस को ये लोन भी देता है जो कि वेलफेयर ऑब्जेक्टिव्स में काम कर रहे हों. So there comes the Reserve Bank of India. Now what is Reserve Bank of India? So in the functioning of government, ये गवर्नमेंट है, पार्लियामेंट has executive and legislatures. So the functioning of executive and legislature done by planning, नीति आयोग जो अब कर रही है, that is through schemes and policies. Now for these matter government needs money, and that is provided through the Consolidated Fund of India and Contingency Fund of India. Apart from it, the other funding is provided by the Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India is the first and last lender of entire banks. So SBI को भी जब जरूरत पड़ेगी तो वो किससे पैसे लेगा? It's RBI, and it is the custodian of foreign exchanges. So forex reserves जो आप देखते हो, जो कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का रिजर्व है, that is kept with RBI. ओके, आप देखते हो 463 या 634 मिलियन डॉलर्स के रिजर्व हैं अभी इंडिया के पास. Now it is also a banker to the government. It provides loan to the executive and legislature works, and it publishes the currency notes. So करेंसी को पब्लिश करने की भी राइट्स रिजर्व बैंक के पास है, whether it is a coin, fiat currency or any legal tender and any note. So the note which has the logo of Reserve Bank of India, that is acted as a legal tender for the exchanges to be taken in the market. What are the functions of RBI? So RBI functions in larger level. RBI works for the development of small banks. RBI works for the licensing of other banks. कोई भी नया बैंक बनता है तो RBI उसे लाइसेंस देती है. It is the priorities of the banking system, acts as a monetary agency. Monetary measures provide किया, license provide कर रहा है, and it is a government banker. It provides foreign exchange management. फॉरेन से कोई डोनेशंस या करेंसी आ रही है उसको आरबीआई मैनेज करता है थ्रू द प्रॉपर चैनलाइजेशन ऑफ फेमा गाइडलाइंस फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मैनेजमेंट एक्ट। तो फेमा एक्ट में हमने पढ़ा था कि ये कानून कैसे ऑब्लाइज्ड करता है कोई भी करेंसी कोई भी कंट्री के मॉनेटरी मेजर्स को दूसरे कंट्री में एक्सचेंज होने में। देन कम्स द कंट्रोल ऑफ द क्रेडिट्स एंड सप्लाई ऑफ मनी। मनी की सप्लाई को भी कंट्रोल करता है। इन दिस वे इट आल्सो कंट्रोल्स द इन्फ्लेशन। महंगाई को भी आरबीआई कंट्रोल करता है। सीआरआर एंड एसएलआर। देन इट प्रोवाइड द रिप्लेसमेंट ऑफ पेमेंट एंड सेटलमेंट ऑफ these payments. It also last resort for the bankers for settlement of various disputes related to banking. It also appoints CEO and chairman of the own banking system, and it has a research and development team for the future challenges and money measures. So जो आप देखते हो कि मनी से रिलेटेड ब्लैक मनी बन रही है या करप्शन हो रहे हैं तो उसको रोकने के लिए भी रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया आर&डी डिपार्टमेंट के थ्रू चेकिंग करता है। सो व्हाट आर द टूल्स? देयर इज अ कैश रिजर्व रेशियो एंड देयर इज स्टैट्यूटरी लिक्विडिटी रेशियो। सो एसएलआर इज टू मेंटेन्ड बाय एनी बैंक विद द आरबीआई in terms of itself. It is a minimum amount of money that a bank needs to maintain as a statutory liquidity. And cash reserve ratio, the minimum amount of cash to be kept as a reserve money for the transaction, that is called as CRR. And the UPPSC asked MCLR, that is marginal cost of fund based lending rate. So it is a marginal cost actually which a bank charges to take the money out of any lender. किसी को भी लोन दिया जा रहा है तो मार्जिनल चार्जिंग जो होती है उसे MCLR कहते हैं। Then there comes the repo rate and reverse repo rate. पहले हम समझते हैं कि सेंट्रल बैंक ऑफ कंट्री जो कि आरबीआई है वो कैसे काम कर रही है। Reserve Bank of India being established year 1935 with a capital of 5 crores and the beginning of ownership of almost all the shares of capital with the non-government shareholders, and it has a few people. So RBI was being nationalized in January 1st 1949 है ना, इसको नेशनलाइज कर दिया गया नेशनलाइजेशन एक्ट ऑफ 1949 में। Then general administration and direction of RBI is managed by the Central Board of Directors with 20 members. तो RBI की स्ट्रक्चर देखते हैं, ये हो गया बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर, उसके ऊपर 4 डिप्टी गवर्नर्स which are headed by the director and Reserve Bank of India governor. So अभी शक्तिकांता दास जी हैं, is a governor of Reserve Bank of India, and there are the government officials also. One government official is also there. So आप याद रखोगे ये structure, and the decision is taken by the meeting of these all bodies together with the governor of RBI ना। और गवर्नर अपनी रिपोर्ट किसे देता है? मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस थ्रू द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया। Now we should let us see how RBI is structured. So RBI is working under Banking Payment Settlement System BPSS. Then it is under the Department of Payment and Settlement System, DOPS, and it has overview of all payment made in India. जो भी सारे ट्रांजेक्शन्स पूरे वर्ल्ड से हैं, IMF से, वर्ल्ड बैंक से, एनी एजेंसीज अराउंड द वर्ल्ड से इंडिया में हो रहे हैं, उनकी लेखा जोखा रखता है रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया. एंड इट अलाउज फॉर्म्स ऑफ पेमेंट इन इंडिया. ये क्या करता है? डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स ऑफ पेमेंट को अलाउ करता है, एंड दे आर वैलिड एंड लीगल. सो आपने अभी देखा था क्रिप्टो करेंसी की इशू चल रही थी, जो कि बिटकॉइन UPSC ने पूछा था 2019. So that cryptocurrency become online instrument of money, and RBI do not assumes it to be a legal tender. Therefore RBI क्या कर रही है कि इसके लिए अलग से रूल्स रेगुलेशंस ड्राफ्ट कर रही है, and it has somehow accepted its transaction with the government, but it has not formally accepted. So there is three kinds of currencies. First is the paper currency. There is also considered as coins, which is by RBI. 1 rupee के coin, तो 100 rupees तक के coin issue करती है. And electronic instruments are there, ECS. Then real time gross settlement, RTGS. Then NEFT, National Electronic Fund Transfer. Then CCIL, corporate instruction lease transfer. It also comprises of other instruments such as prepaid system भी RBI के पास है for industrial transactions. There is mobile banking also. So आपके मोबाइल से जब आप बैंकिंग करते हो, RBI के परमिशन के बाद ही आप पेटीएम या फ़ोन पे से बैंकिंग कर पा रहे हो. Then comes the ATM provision, different types of ATMs, white label, brown label. Then comes the online banking, different kinds of online banking procedures, and point of sale terminals, POS, terminals transactions. So RBI regulates the banknotes, gives the reserve with the view of security money and stability in India, generally operates the currency and credit system of the country. Now it is the formulation framework and institutional architecture and monetary policy in India which has evolved around this objective, maintaining price stability, the core functions of RBI. अब इसके कोर फंक्शन में क्या आ रहा है? प्राइस को स्टेबलाइज रखना, दैट इज इन्फ्लेशन टारगेटिंग, ensuring adequate flow of credit to sustain the growth momentum and securing the financial stability. So price stability plus financial stability के लिए RBI guidelines निकालती हैं. So it is also responsible for ensuring the financial stability involving the vesting of extensive power to operate the business. Objective for RBI to regulate and supervision of the financial system and its constituents. फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम जो है और उनके कंस्टिट्यूएंट्स जो हैं उनको रेगुलेट करने के लिए भी RBI काम कर रही है. द मनी, डेट and foreign exchange segment in the market of India are also controlled by RBI. Okay. Now let us see that RBI governor is appointed by the Union Government of India, which is representative of the various economic functions in India. RBI गवर्नर हो गए, बोर्ड मेंबर्स हो गए, गवर्निंग काउंसिल बन गई, 4 अदर मेंबर्स हो गए, गवर्नर, डिप्टी गवर्नर एंड 4 members. Then comes the board headquarters, that are 4 local boards. ये कहाँ कहाँ पे हैं? मुंबई, दिल्ली, कोलकाता, चेन्नई. And the 5 members of local board are appointed by the union government for a period of 4 years. 4 साल के पीरियड के लिए 5 लोकल बोर्ड के मेंबर्स को अपॉइंट किया जाता है आरबीआई में. And after that the next members are appointed by the central government, union government, under the permission of president of India का अपॉइंटमेंट हो रहा है. So the local board works according to the instructions and orders given by the central board of directors. सेंट्रल बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर से जो इंस्ट्रक्शन मिल रहे हैं उस पर वो काम कर रहे हैं. सो हेडक्वार्टर कहाँ पे है आरबीआई का? हेडक्वार्टर इज इन मुंबई. एंड नोट प्रिंटिंग कहाँ कहाँ पे होते हैं? सो नोट प्रिंटिंग इज डन एट डिफरेंट प्लेसेस. Now look at the RBI governor position. So governor is appointed by the Financial Sector Regulatory Appointment Search Committee headed by the Cabinet Secretary. इसका टर्म क्या होता है? It has under section 84 of RBI Act, the governor and deputy governor should hold office not exceeding the 5 years as permitted by the central government as may fix when appointed them. So central government by the order of president of India इनके ऑफिस ड्यूरेशन को इनलार्ज कर सकती है. सो दे आर एलिजिबल फॉर रीअपॉइंटमेंट ऑल्सो. याद रखिए. So the qualification of RBI is through RBI Act do not provide any specific qualification. So it can be simple BCom student also or MBA student who can also become the governor of RBI. है ना? Then comes the removal by the central government. It is done by the central government, although RBI governor can resign on his own will. You know? Now what is the rules? Issuing of notes, issuing of currencies. है ना? RBI has monopoly of issuing the notes and currency tenders. It provides the legal tender money under Ministry of Finance, and it is providing the minimum reserve system for note issue. Since 1957 it keeps the minimum reserve for the India. 1990 में क्या हो गया था? जो क्राइसिस हुई थी बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट की, उसमें आरबीआई का मिनिमम रिजर्व डिक्लाइन हो गया. मिनिमम रिजर्व इन टर्म्स ऑफ गोल्ड और फॉरेक्स में. सो फॉरेक्स इंडिया का डिक्लाइन हो गया जिसके चलते आईएमएफ की कंडीशंस इम्पोज हुई. है ना? सो विच इज एटलीस्ट 150 crores of value. Foreign exchange should be at least 200 crores of value, and the gold should be around 115 crores of value. So RBI is a banker of the government. It acts as a banker, agent and advisor to the government of India in terms of international and national transactions. It performs all banking functions of a state and central government, and it also renders the useful advice to the government on the matter related to economic and the monetary policy. It also manages the public debt of the government. गवर्नमेंट का जो ऋण है, लोन्स है, उसको भी मैनेज कर रही है आरबीआई, जो कि 1990s में हमें देखने को मिला. लोन्स वेर नॉट being handled by the RBI and they declined beyond certain level. That leads to Reduction in the value of RBI prices. So RBI also channelized bank credit in favor of priority sectors. RBI has development institutions, IDBI, SIDBI, NABARD, National Housing Bank. So it promotes the cooperative banks and the bill market also. Now let us look at RBI's functions as the bankers of the all bank. It provides the regulation, penalization and help the bank when they need such funding. RBI has a special relationship with the banks. It controls an amount in their SLR and CRR and hold of all the parties in their reserves. Banks borrows from RBI in times need when they have lagging their money values. So वो क्या करते हैं RBI से borrow कर लेते हैं in terms of source of money and credit in India. It also is the controller of credit. So RBI undertakes the responsibility of controlling credit created by the commercial banks. To achieve the objective, it makes extensive use of quantitative and qualitative techniques, है ना? To control and regulate the credit facility in the country. आप देखे थे कि illicit currency की कंट्रोल के लिए there was currency prohibition, जिसमें हमने देखा था कि the notes were prohibited. So 1000 notes and 500 notes were banned from the circulation. 2017 में हमने देखा कि ये नोट्स प्रतिबंधित हो गए. A new note of 2000 was introduced after a certain period of time. Now it is also being prohibited in the market. So need for credit control क्यों है? To keep the check over the channelization of credit and to achieve objective of controlling inflation as well as deflation. इन्फ्लेशन एंड डिफ्लेशन को भी कंट्रोल करने के लिए मॉनेटरी सर्कुलेशन कंट्रोल करना है. नहीं तो ऐसे आपने वेनेजुएला में देखा था, पाकिस्तान में देखा था, बहुत सारे कंट्री करेंसी नोट्स गवर्नमेंट छाप देती हैं, उसकी वैल्यू नहीं रहती एंड दैट लीड्स टू डेप्रिसिएशन ऑफ मनी. सो क्रेडिट कंट्रोल इज मोस्ट नेसेसरी बाय द सेंट्रल बैंक. So it is also facilitating the flow of adequate volume of banking credits. बैंक को जो भी पैसे चाहिए उसकी एडिक्वेसी के फ्लो को भी कंट्रोल करती है for different sectors. It also provides the stability in exchange rate in the money market of the country. NSE और BSE में सप्लाई करती है मनी मार्केट के कंट्रोल को. It also has the custodian of foreign reserves. It acts as a custodian of foreign reserves. Stability, the reserve bank buys and sells foreign currencies, also protect the country's foreign exchange funds. What are the other functions? It provides the cleaning house, arranging credits for agriculture, and through NABARD there is National Agriculture Bank for Development. NABARD का एग्ज़ाम भी बच्चे देते हैं. सो नाबार्ड से रूरल क्रेडिट्स एंड लोन्स को फैसिलिटेट किया जाता है. RBI प्रोवाइड द लोन्स फॉर द फील्ड इंडस्ट्रीज एंड provides buying and selling of government securities, trade bills, giving loans to the government, buying and selling of valuable commodities, and representative of the government in IMF at National Monetary Fund की मीटिंग्स में RBI के गवर्नर्स एंड डिप्टी गवर्नर पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं. What is the method of credit control? So RBI acts as a control of credit, made the role and make extensive use of quantitative and qualitative techniques. It follows quantitative credit control measure in term of volume of loans and credit given by the commercial banks. Then what is qualitative measures? So bank rate. Now what is bank rate? The rate of interest at which the RBI provides financial assistance to the commercial banks. RBI लोन दे रही है शेड्यूल कमर्शियल बैंक्स को. That interest is called as bank rate, and the bank rate is also called as dear money policy. So क्या बोलते हैं dear money policy because welfare measures of directive principle of state policy के थ्रू ये dear money प्रोवाइड करती है ताकि छोटे मोटे बैंक्स अपना डेवलपमेंट कर सकें. And it is also providing the rate of interest to lending money to bank against the eligible securities. जो भी eligible banks की securities है उसको भी परचेज करने के लिए ये लोन दे रही है. So there is controlled and regulated banking. Bank rate was raised to discourage banks from the borrowing from RBI from increasing liquidity as a way to reduce liquidity. So bank rate के through liquidity को सक करती है RBI. So ये क्या है liquidity reduction measure, and it also serves as the benchmark for determining other rates of interest by the Reserve Bank of India. On the other hand, when the bank rate is lowered, it is called as the cheap money policy. तो बैंक रेट कम करने का मतलब क्या है कि सस्ते दर पे बैंक्स को ये लोन देना चाह रही है ताकि इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़े. अभी हमने देखा था स्टार्टअप इंडिया स्टैंड अप इंडिया शुरू हुआ. एमएसएमईज को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्रेडिट फैसिलिटी अवेलेबल कराने के लिए आरबीआई ने चीप लोन शुरू किया. सो it also has a policy of slowdown and recession. कोविड-19 के बाद हमें देखने को मिल रहा था. उसको कवर्ड करने के लिए बैंक रेट को रिड्यूस कर दिया गया. What is CRR? CRR is the total deposit of bank which a bank has to keep in cash with the central bank. So cash reserve ratio जो कैश है उसका एक रेशियो that the bank keep it सेंट्रल बैंक आरबीआई की. अगर बैंक इंसॉल्वेंट हो जाता है बैंकरप्ट हो जाता है तो उसकी मनी जो है वो क्रेडिट स्क्वीज के थ्रू आरबीआई उसके लोन होल्डर से निकाल सके. हमने देखा था सहारा बैंक के सहारा स्कैम है ना, सहारा बैंक ही पूरा डूब गया. तो उसके जो ओनर थे वो जेल में भी गए हुए थे है ना. सो ऐसी चीज़ें हमें देखने को मिलती हैं व्हेन आरबीआई कंट्रोल्स इट. देन कम्स दी क्रेडिट लिबरलाइजेशन पॉलिसी. इसमें क्या हो रहा है द क्रेडिट इज लिबरलाइज्ड टू बी टेकन बाय द अदर बैंकर्स ड्यूरिंग द इन्फ्लेशन एंड लोअरिंग डाउन द स्लो डाउन. सो इन्फ्लेशन के टाइम में आरबीआई ऐसे क्रेडिट्स प्रोवाइड करती है थ्रू क्रेडिट लिबरलाइजेशन which certain percentage of its demand of the bank and time liabilities in the cash with the RBI which can raise the RBI to drain out the excess liquidity or reduce the release of liquidity from the economy. So excess liquidity जो मार्केट में जा रही है उसको रिड्यूस करने के लिए ये मेजर इफेक्टिव रहता है. Then comes the RBI open market operations. So open market operation conducted by RBI by selling and buying the government securities from the banks. And RBI क्या कर रही है open market operations गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की सिक्योरिटीज सच एज रेलवे लॉस में जा रही है या पोस्टल बैंक पोस्ट ऑफिस या कोल इंडस्ट्री डिक्लाइन पे है तो उसके सिक्योरिटीज़ इशू करती है खुले मार्केट में ताकि उससे पैसा निकाला जा सके. एंड दिस मनी थ्रू ओएमओ इज टेकन बाय आरबीआई. आरबीआई से मार्केट में डालती है बीएससी और एनएससी के थ्रू. ओके सो देयर आर अदर इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स अपार्ट फ्रॉम सीआरआर एंड एसएलआर. which is period to be exceeded with RBI in terms of selling government securities. So ये क्वार्टरली इंटरवल पे यानी 3 मंथ्स के इंटरवल पे OMO करती है RBI. Now what is SLR? Statutory liquidity ratio is the total deposit of liquid funds and consists mainly of government securities and for some cash in hands, and it is provided in terms of gold. So there is liabilities to retain with RBI by the commercial banks in terms of gold, and RBI invest the government securities. So banks prefer to invest in the government securities in terms of interest. Then there are repo and reverse repo operations. Repo rate is the repurchase rate of government securities from the bank with a commitment that it will give back to the banks. So repurchasing of the government securities from the other banks by RBI called as the repo rate. And repo implies injection of liquidity in the banking system. रेपो में क्या होता है, लिक्विडिटी को बैंक्स में डालती है RBI. Except the OMO operation where inbuilt clause of automatic repurchase is specified period. So SLR is kept with the RBI and borrow from a short period, generally overnight, and interest paid by the bank is called as repo rate. Then comes the reverse repo rate. So the rate at which RBI sucks the money. So RBI also is window to offer government securities which banks can subscribe to, and the rate of interest paid by RBI to banks is called as reverse repo. So the rate of interest जो बैंक्स RBI को ऑफर करते हैं शेयर्स को परचेज या सेल करने के लिए called as reverse repo rate. And new concept is variable reverse repo rate जिसकी इकोनॉमी सर्वे में हमने चर्चा की थी. So variable reverse repo rate is a rate of interest offered by different banks during lockdown of कोविड-19 में हमने देखा कि डिफरेंट बैंक्स ऑफर कर रहे थे R1, R2, R3 रेट्स टू द RBI. दैट वाज एक्सेप्टेड बाय RBI क्योंकि क्राइसिस चल रही थी. नाउ व्हाट इज मार्जिनल स्टैंडिंग फैसिलिटी? MSF scheme came into force in 2011 and it is very short term of loans for the scheduled commercial banks. बहुत short term का लोन जो scheduled commercial bank को दिया जा रहा है is called as MSF. So banks can use MSF during severe cash shortage or acute shortage of liquidity. जबकि उनके पास कैश क्रंच हो जाए, क्राइसिस हो जाए, ऐसे सिचुएशन में MSF को यूज़ करके 2% ऑफ कैश को यूज़ कर सकते हैं ऑफ देयर NDTL. NDTL क्या होता है भाइयों? NDTL इज़ नेट डिमांड एंड टाइम लायबिलिटी, जिसे बोलते हैं कसाटा. कैपिटल अकाउंट, सेविंग अकाउंट एंड द टाइम लायबिलिटी. नाउ मार्जिनल कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड बेस्ड लेंडिंग रेट MCLR, जिसे UPSC ने पूछा था. Reserve Bank of India brought a new methodology of offering the lending key rate to the commercial banks in the name of marginal cost of fund based lending rate MCLR. So as per new guidelines, RBI bank have prepared the marginalized cost of funds that is based on lending rates, which will be internal benchmark lending rate based among MCLR interest rate for different types of customers also provided at a fixed rate and which is according to the riskiness. तो जितना रिस्क है उसके हिसाब से MCLR बैंक फिक्स कर लेते हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ बेस रेट। तो उसी के बेस पे बेस रेट फिक्स होता है जिससे कि लेंडिंग और बोरोइंग हो रही है। नाउ लिक्विडिटी एडजस्टमेंट फैसिलिटी, व्हाट इज LAF? So repo rate and reverse repo rate are the part of liquidity adjustment facility of RBI। कैश कितना फ्लो होगा मार्केट में, runs of cash flow, limitation of cash flow, all are comes under the liquidity adjustment facility. So LAF allows RBI to manage the market liquidity and on the daily basis to send the interest signals to the market। क्या कर रही है, इंटरेस्ट सिग्नल्स मार्केट को दे रही है कि इतने इंटरेस्ट पे लिक्विडिटी फ्लो होगी। सो LAF ऑपरेट्स थ्रू रेपो एंड रिवर्स रेपो ऑक्शंस। तो ये क्लियर हो गया, किसी भी काइंड ऑफ लिक्विडिटी या मनी सप्लाई को मार्केट में पुश करने के लिए रेपो या रिवर्स रेपो ऑपरेशन होगा। एंड व्हाट इज क्वालिटेटिव क्रेडिट कंट्रोल? इट इज अ margin requirements by the RBI in order to regulate the credit flow to a particular sector when the bank advances credit to its customer it does not against the certain collateral। कुछ क्रेडिट दिया जाता है किसी कस्टमर को तो उसके बदले में कुछ गिरवी रखवा के, जैसे कि हाउस पे कुछ लोग ज़मीन पे लोन लेते हैं। However, there is a difference between value of security and the loan. This difference is called as the margin. The margin requirement against the specific security are determined by the Reserve Bank, which in turn influence the flow of credit. So जितने पे lending हुई and जितने पे लोन लिया गया, so इसके बीच में एक आता है collateral और collateral के बीच में आता है marginal। So there is a gap between these two and it's called as the marginal requirement. So it is also doing the consumer credit regulation. RBI issues the rules to set minimum maximum level of down payment and periods of payment for purchase of credit goods. It also have guidelines of oral and written statement, appeals, guidelines and warning to the banks and online transactions। ऑनलाइन फ्रॉडलेंट भी होते हैं बहुत टाइप्स के, क्रेडिट कार्ड या बैंकिंग सिस्टम से रिलेटेड, तो उसके लिए भी गाइडलाइन जारी करती है RBI। व्हाट अदर थिंग्स RBI डू? RBI प्रोवाइड द rationing of credit। Rationing of credit means a method by which RBI seeks to limit the maximum amount of loans and advances and also certain cases fixed ceiling for specific categories of loans and services। तो इसे क्या बोलते हैं, rationing of credits। And there comes the moral suasion which is milder form of credit control by RBI which persuade the commercial bank to cooperate with the general monetary policy। मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी के मेजरमेंट को जनरली हेल्प करने के लिए, एंड इट एक्ट्स अ मोरल कंपल्शन or threat to punitive action in terms of informal means or psychological pressure create for the credit control। अगर कोई बैंक गाइडलाइन को फॉलो नहीं कर रहा है तो उसको RBI प्रेशराइज करती है to follow these instructions। And RBI also takes the direct action in discipline basis if the bank do not fulfill the condition and requirement। RBI refuse to re-discount their papers or give excess credit to the bank, such as PNB में भी fraudulent सी हुई थी, इससे पहले सहारा बैंक में स्कैम हुआ, इससे पहले JVG बैंक के घोटाले में सुना होगा आपने, जो सारे पैसे लेके भाग गई। So it cannot provide a credit beyond certain limit So RBI control inflation and growth, participating with the government of India. RBI influences inflation and growth in the economy to a large extent through an instrument of control. RBI squeezes liquidity from the economy by selling securities, increases repo rates, increasing CRR, and then demand the economy to reduce the inflation brought under the control. तो ये क्या करती है, रिवर्स और रेपो ऑपरेशंस एंड रिवर्स रेपो से लिक्विडिटी को सक करती है और मॉनेटरी सप्लाई को कंट्रोल करती है ताकि इन्फ्लेशन, जैसे अभी टमाटर की महंगाई बहुत ज़्यादा है, टमाटो प्राइसेस राइजेस ड्यू टू होर्डिंग एंड crunches in the selling. So RBI controls this kind of influences, and more increasing liquidity in the economic means household have more money to consumer, industries have more money to invest, all of which lead to increase in economic activity. तो उसको बैलेंस करके चलना RBI का फंक्शन है. So this can be seen in the RBI control inflation, increase in rupee get stronger, encourage saving. RBI को क्या करना है, लोगों को सेविंग की तरफ प्रमोट करना है कि अगर ज़्यादा मनी है तो उसका सेव करिए फ्यूचर के प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए, फ्यूचर क्राइसिस के लिए या चैलेंजेस के लिए. एंड रुपी गेट स्ट्रॉन्गर, तो उससे कंट्री की रुपी की वैल्यू ग्लोबल मार्केट में बढ़ जाती है. इट ऑल्सो इंक्रीजेज लोन पेमेंट इंक्रीज एंड हायर इन्फ्लेशन चेक. सो इंटरेस्ट रेट आर डिक्रीजिंग, देन रुपी घट जाती है, रुपी की वैल्यू कमज़ोर हो रही है. अभी हम देख रहे हैं ना, $1 इक्वल्स टू 84 रुपीज़ हो गई है. अर्लियर $1 इक्वल्स टू 1990s में 25 रुपीज़ हुआ करती थी. एंड आफ्टर 1990s the value is constantly declining, which is a matter of contention. So more disposable income needs low inflation. Now what is liquidity? Liquidity is a money which is being circulated by the people and the banks. It is almost like the fresh money and credit creation. RBI works for the management of liquidity. When money is in demand by the bank, and demand is fulfilled by the pumping of money by repo operations. And if the government want to suck the money through time deposits, it does reverse repo. So इसे याद रखेंगे. Now I hope that you have clearly understand the class, and let us discuss some of the important questions arising out of this section in answer writing. So examine functioning of RBI, how RBI acts to balance of payment crisis, how RBI support people of India by managing inflation. Explain the MSF sorry. So just a model of answer writing. एक आंसर को हम डिस्कस करते हैं. फंक्शनिंग ऑफ आरबीआई. आरबीआई कैसे फंक्शन कर रही है? आरबीआई फंक्शंस to control the inflation, to manage the currency circulation, to manage the liquidity. तो इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे आप आरबीआई बिफोर इंडिपेंडेंस ऑफ इंडिया। आरबीआई RBI worked for the traders and the merchants, but as soon as India got independence, RBI turned to be a centralized bank. Now इसके सब डायमेंशंस क्या लिखोगे आप कि RBI observes the liquidity and absorbs the liquidity through repo and reverse repo. RBI provides the bank rate as a minimum rate for the scheduled commercial bank to provide the loans. RBI issues currencies and checks the illicit currencies. Also checks the FEMA guidelines of money laundering and black money penetration in India. ब्लैक मनी कौन कंट्रोल करता है? आरबीआई थ्रू फेमा. देन conclude with the future acts of RBI. Okay, in this way you can write your answer beautifully. Keep writing. Send me on my telegram.me/gsrevolt और वैराग्य IS. हम और भी आंसर राइटिंग प्रोग्राम्स लेके आ रहे हैं when you will write more answers and realize the benefit out of it. So that is GS3 UPSC syllabus covering under this module. Will also cover GS paper 4, GS2 in coming classes. So stay tuned, keep watching, keep sharing. Thank you and have a nice day. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.